Hello, my name is Edward Kyle Ritchie, and this is the Truth in Focus podcast. Today is November 3rd, 2020. Today is the election, and this is a special episode premiering our new series, our first ever issue for the month of November, The Radical Left and Their Judgment Upon Us All. But I want to begin actually reading from a book written in 1968, I believe. It is by Will and Ariel Durant, The Lessons of History. This is going to be from page 68 from the copy that I have. This is a much older copy. And it's very prevalent for our time. So please bear with me. It begins, I'm going to begin with this part here. Marx was an unfaithful disciple of Hegel. He interpreted the Hegelian dialect as implying that the struggle between capitalism and socialism would end in the complete victory of socialism. But if the Hegelian formula of thesis, antithesis, and synthesis is applied to the Industrial Revolution as thesis, and to capitalism versus socialism as antithesis, the third condition would be a synthesis of capitalism and socialism. And to this recollection, the Western world visibly moves. Year by year, the role of Western governments in the economy rises. The share of the private sector declines. Capitalism retains the stimulus of private property, free enterprise, and competition, and produces a rich supply of goods, high taxation, falling heavily upon the upper class, enables the government to provide for a self-limited population unprecedented services in education, health, and recreation. The fear of capitalism has compelled socialism to widen freedom, and the fear of socialism has compelled capitalism to increase equality. East is west, and west is east, and soon the twain will meet. End quote. That is what is at present the current events within American history. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the radical left whom we are referring to here in this new November issue. This special November issue comes at the wake of a radical leftist soft-totalitarianism, as Rod Dreher points out in his book, Live Not by Lies. I won't spoil the articles for the readers who will peruse this issue, but I want to encourage the listener that there is plenty for everyone. An article by Kimberly Hagen called The Left's Feminist Narrative Killer is an excellent expose of Amy Coney Barrett and her rise as a mother, as a judge, and now a Supreme Court justice, and a woman of faith. Also, this article by Thomas Doan, The Convergence of the Progressive Telos. That is a great article from a philosophical standpoint about our current post-modernity and the rise of the radical left. And, of course, I will point to my own article, Totalitarian Incantations, Late Modernity's Radical Manifestations. Thomas and I had not spoken, but we both had kind of written on a similar topic of the rise of the radical left, but not just them, but also the rise of a totalitarian nature that is coming over all of us and all over the world at this moment in time and period of history. As convergences and divergences of cultures and societies now are at the point of conflict, as we see capitalism and socialism converge into this new totalitarian nature that first we'll see from the radical left and very likely a rise from the radical right. All of these mentioned articles and more are for you to read and to share and to ponder on what is coming our way and really what is here. Now, I would like to talk about the election for a moment. This is, of course, an important one, and I'm talking to Biden voters and Trump voters. I'd like you to take a moment and to hear me out. Now, this is coming completely unscripted. I really would like to speak from the heart here and just say what's on my mind. Granted, yes, this is a series on the radical left, but what really I'm looking at here is the critical race theorist, the postmodernist. Those are just an absolute denial of any kind of historical facts or scientific truths or religious and deep conviction and beliefs of those that are just, different from these radical viewpoints. I'm not saying, hey, there's no problems within the black community, or that we shouldn't work on trying to find out what's going on. Why are there so many shootings going on? Or why aren't we dealing with more poverty issues? Or why aren't we dealing with other issues that some would call social justice issues? I'm not calling even for social justice. I believe in justice. I believe that, we're at a point now where we have to really define what these things mean. Clearly, I'm a conservative, but first and foremost, I am a Christian. And again, I'm not just speaking for myself here. All the writers that I have gathered are Christians. And at the end of the day, everyone here realizes that we need to be reaching across the board. Glenn Greenwald this week he wasn't necessarily fired, but he quit from The Intercept after dealing with an issue over his article on Joe Biden and his campaign concerning his son and all those issues, whether it's, how true all of that is. It's not what I'm here to talk about, but someone like Glenn Greenwald is willing to break lines, if you will, from his own progressive beliefs to get to the truth of the matter. And that's what I'm trying to do here. And that is what Truth in Focus is most about. We're not about left versus right, right versus left. All of this divisive stuff that has come over our airwaves and our books and our discussions and all of these matters that really and truly we need to get past in terms of this us versus them mentality that has disturbingly transformed our minds in the last 4, if not even 8, 12 years. So what am I saying? I am not voting for Biden, but I have my own, and this is speaking personally, my own wariness of Trump. That doesn't mean that Donald Trump has not done policies, good policies. There's actually things that Donald Trump has done well. James Lindsay, the physicist, mathematician, one of the founders of New Discourses, an atheist, is voting, a very leftist guy is voting for Donald Trump. I know Rod Dreher went in this morning to go vote. He's not going to say who he voted for, but like him and like others, there's a unnecessary wariness just because, not because we don't understand what's coming from the left, but we also understand that there is a whole kind of spirit, if you will, a spirit of totalitarianism. If you don't think that Trump has any kind of populist authoritarian attitude, you've been under a rock for the last 4 years. But again, this is not about that even. What I want to speak beyond here and clarify is that after this is all over, no matter who wins this election, there is going to be a lot more conflict. There's going to be a lot more discussions. There's going to be tightening of our political, social, economic environments. I implore you to consider this, to consider that whoever wins this election, that neither candidate is capable of really controlling what the masses or what the people do in this kind of culture and environment that has been shaping our country for decades. From the military-industrial complex to Snowden's revelations, and I will say Glenn Greenwald, revelations of the national security state, the whole nexus of the NSA and deep state. I mean, all of these things. This is so much more than the left versus right. Now, we're talking about leftist issues because we see the concerns of kind of woke capitalism and the erasure of gender and all these matters. But that doesn't stop me from not seeing beyond I have concerns about climate change. I have concerns about the environment, of course. I have concerns about GMOs, and of course I don't agree with abortion. I'm very pro-gun. I believe in the rights to property. I would like to see lower taxes. I would like to see a less invasive government. And I think that this will be a whopper for you. I think that marriage should be decided not by the government at all. There's a whole slew of issues and policy considerations and all these different matters that we could discuss. That, by the way, we can also all look at and say, hey, yes, there's controversial points. We're going to be at segments where we're just going to disagree, or hey, I feel threatened by this or that. But that's not always the common thread. Maybe it seems like it is, and in some ways it feels like it is because we're under the stress of the virus and of political tensions and economic woes and the United States and its question in the world and the West and all these different things. But I would just want you to, even as you read this issue, this November issue, I would like that you to pause and to understand that I do care, and we do care about the human being, about people, that we can find a way to discuss beyond our differences and to even come together in our differences and maybe find some common ground. Whatever happens today, whatever the election reveals, still requires us to find a place somewhere where we can, if we can't agree, to learn to disagree. So I wish you all the best. I hope you listen to this, read this series, and we will be seeing each other again soon. The link to this issue is down below, but you can also go to edwardkyleritchie.org at TruthInFocus to see the November issue and read the other articles on my blog. But also you can listen to more podcasts like this on All Things Veritas. And if you're on Instagram, you can see our special series of Mere Beauty and Truth, which looks at a visual philosophy, which is a series on art and architecture and other areas that look at it from a philosophical standpoint. Thank you for listening again, and I hope that you have a good night, and I hope that everything turns out well for you and for this country. God bless.